Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, the 29th of October, 2022, and it's been a few days since I've done any videos, but I have been pretty busy. And also, I did go on a podcast YouTube live stream on Thursday. It was the MK Canada version of that show with Andreas Zurtis, Xirtus, and it was over 2 hours long. It was really, really fun. I was nervous because it was my first time, but I was invited back again, so I may or may not be a regular. And again, I've been putting myself out there on Rumble and YouTube and LinkedIn and all my social media platforms for the last couple of years because I think it's because I'm trying to get out there to get this information out there. I'm not trying to expose anyone or the government. I'm not trying to be a whistleblower. I'm not trying to be any of those things. I work with government, right? And I'm a very patriotic person, and I also, believe that like everyone should be like working cooperatively and collectively and peacefully. But unfortunately, just because of how like the environment is right now, like the current state of affairs in the world, like we do need to like kind of like take a step back and like reassess everything that we've been taught and told, and then how we've been doing things, and see if there's a way to mitigate like a lot of the things that we've done that are very similar to things that we've done in the past, right? Like even and I was mentioning this on Andreas's show, which is unfortunate because it was an MK Canada show, and we were talking about the Emergency Act, or we were supposed to be talking about the Emergencies Act and the Freedom Convoys and the mandates and the elections and like all of these things, and unfortunately, like time just goes away so fast, and so we got into these like so many other different interesting topics, but we didn't really talk about Canadian topics as much as we should have been, and that's totally my fault. And so it is what it is. But I did say after the show that if and when I do go back on for any kind of Canadian version shows, then I could go back and say the discuss the stuff that I wanted to say. If it's still relevant, right? Because like the hearings are going to be for the Emergency Act are going to be ongoing for the next few weeks. Like I think like four weeks left or something like that, or 5 weeks. And there's going to be a lot more people going to be part of these hearings. And so the last, because I didn't see the live stream really too much yesterday, it was still like the chief, like the head, like supervisors at the federal level that are still discussing things, and then obviously like the provincial, like we had like the superintendent of the OPP, Thomas Carrique. He was speaking Thursday, and actually I'll go to my notes just so I don't mess that up. Let me see if I have it actually on here. Okay, so, and Carrique is Carrique, and he was saying that he wasn't really in daily contact with like the people that he should have been in daily contact with. He was kind of dismissing things that even like heads of other organizations like Brenda Lucky from the RCMP, Wayne Eyre from like this the chief of defense staff, like likely not talking to these people at all. Actually, personally, maybe Brenda, but like why is he not talking to emergency management people or high level security analysts, or why is he not talking to our other defense like higher levels, chains of command at the at all levels? Because again, like the Green Army was staged like on the exterior, and there were so many other things, but he was in daily contact with like a Mac McDonald, and so I'm just gonna get some more information on this person because I'm not too familiar, but I am with a few other people that he was mentioning, and I'm not trying to shame anyone. I'm just saying that like when we don't hold individuals accountable, this is how these like systems of oppression or whatever you want to call it like still continue to be successful, right? It's because like we're not learning from it, and we're not putting names to responsibilities and pieces that they parts that they played in scripts that were written, and because you can't have a play without a script. And I just wanted to say that he became the commissioner of the OPP, Thomas Carrique, in April of 2019, and 330 municipalities under his leadership. So there's a 3-3 in there as well, which is like an occult number that's of significance for various different reasons. It's like half an 8. It's also like it could be like an M. It like the Trinity, the triad of certain hermetic groups. Anyway, that utilize like the triangle and the circle and the square as part of their occult like hidden messaging and symbols and various different platforms and social media. I guess platforms. I'm being redundant. But yeah, and so the OPP institutional report, like number 50819. That would be interesting to take a look at. I'm looking at notes that I take, but like throughout the day, like I have so many different things on the go because I'm trying to sell my home. It's gonna be put on the market hopefully in the next few days, and to try to sell as soon as possible because I just got the repairs done from the wind damage from the that March storm that hit Ottawa. And the only reason why, again, like I had like a damage is because like all the trees that were behind my house were shredded, unfortunately, instead of used for lumber, which is why I'm upset about this, right? Like things happen. Like obviously, it's like we need resources to build shelters and things like that. It's just like even with animals, like when people hunt, right? They people that I know personally, they are first of all they're very skilled, intelligent people because being a hunter takes a lot of uh like a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience in various different environments and fields and things like that too. But where was it going with this? Oh yeah, but like using the entire animal, right? Even the fur and the antlers or the horns or the hooves, and even like the internal organs for like sacks and bags and so yeah, it's the waste. That's the that's a thing like that people like me look at, especially when it's not. First of all, on heritage sites, like it shouldn't be happening anymore, right? But like we're also not allowing trees to like just remain like maintain, be maintained, sorry, and like and allow them to like just like continue to grow because a lot of them are being destroyed or shredded, not being utilized, and then we're bringing in pressurized, treated, chemical laden like lumber, even from the U.S. And it's prefab stuff, right? So and then even with the stone, like breaking down old homes and not realizing that, or breaking down old roads and not realizing it, and not taking these like really beautiful stones and using these in buildings. And like that's why like for me like I bought this place because like I really love the heritage site behind me because the like the stone buildings reminded me of the Gaspésie, and I love that, right? Like that old like old world look, right? Like I mean, depending on the like the cycle of life, but it was just really pleasant. And then with the big trees too, it just reminded me like it just made me feel like I was living in the country, right? Like when I would wake up. And so it's fine, right? Like it's gone now, but they're doing this stuff, and they've been doing this for many years all over like the like the country, and it's very fast, right? And so like I don't know. I would go on all these freaking tangents, but yeah, they weren't doing daily update briefs, and he wasn't looking at like the whole like scheme of maneuver. This is what I was saying on Andreas's show, though. At least I did break that down, but saying that he didn't understand or know where all of his assets were and resources, but like he didn't do a combat estimate and see the situation friendly and enemy. And the friendly piece, like for the like when you're in the infantry, at least as an officer, we do like map recce's and like 15 steps of battle procedure and things like that, right? And then we take a look at like our maps, and aerial photos and surveillance and all these other things, and then we just like position and we like put on the maps, right? Like where like for me obviously here it would be like for example like the city of Ottawa map that we would use, like even like a road map would work obviously just fine, and then just position on that and then do an electronic version as well, just like a bubble or like a text box, like it's just easy as that with arrows pointing to where people are, or personnel are, like or units are in detachments and stuff like that, and then like what resources they have, what like capabilities they have, and all of those things. Sorry, I'm distracted because like there's an oil truck like going in the back now, and I hope it's one of those beeping ones, and so I'm gonna get distracted again. Block it out, block it out, block it out. Oh yeah, and I keep on getting called a Karen for like I'm not complaining about this stuff. I'm sharing this information, and so like if you're not in my shoes and you're not going through what I'm going through, which is a legit like a frustration in life, like anyone that's like comes here, like they're like that, they actually do say that wow, like this does suck. So like so the people that don't know me or what I'm like or what this has done, and the fact that like again like I bought this home as a single woman, and it's hard to have a home, and then through a pandemic and through the chaos of like when a lot of things that were outside of my control with damage and stuff like that, and trying to do top secret government work, and having my internet connection disrupted and my phone calls disrupted when I'm trying to speak to people from Europe and things like that, and like beeps in the background, and I'm doing this risking my life to try to get this information to save lives, like children and elderly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It really frustrates me when people that don't even know me just say Karen. I'm like, cool, yeah. But I am actively looking to like I'm not. It's not that I'm not doing anything about it, but stuff like this is like a replacement or like a way to desensitize us from like and be like chronically again like in like not only chronically annoyed or chronically inflamed, but it's also like, again, like the desensitization thing that I was saying before, to allow us to continue to be controlled and distracted and overconsume and be exploited and our resources exploited right in front of our faces and do nothing about it. And it's really, really frustrating. Oh, also, when I was on Andreas' show, I kept on saying, you know what I mean? It's such a coping mechanism, but I want to stop doing that. I just want to make sure. Like, I was going on tangents. I'm sure, like I was saying things that I should have elaborated more on. So I'm really sorry that if I'm not. I'm looking at my cat in the back and she's exploring, and sometimes I do think that like maybe she should just be more of an indoor cat, but she hates it inside, right? And so like that before it gets to be too cold, like I want her to enjoy the outside, but now it's just like a lot more dangerous than it was. And again, another reason why I'm moving is just so that my animals can have like more fun and more safety and stuff like that and enjoy nature. And I wish it didn't have to get to like that, right? I wish I didn't have to sell my home and move, and it's going to be like cold in a winter by the time I'm doing this by myself, right? And so like, yeah. But, oh, you're being a Karen. Okay. And oh my God. And even with the convoy, 2.5 weeks of people honking and people were losing it and like saying that they hear ghost horns and all this stuff. And then actually going out and instead of like leaving, like I've done like many times before, I've shared this on my social media platforms. I go out and I rent places that are enjoyable and quiet to get away from this from time to time, even though it's extra money that I could use to put down as a down payment on another home that I'm trying to do. But no, for 2.5 weeks, these people were just like complaining in their houses instead of like leaving and doing this. So it's like 2.5 weeks. And if you don't have the money, then like do something cheaper, like go camping, like get out during the days when this is happening. And there's also what's coming out in the hearings, the Emergency Act hearings, and what was coming out in cabinet, even like during after the convoy stuff happened. But most like the majority of damage or destruction in the downtown core, it was the large majority was from people in the area or people being brought in, like the Antifa people, the BLM, the crisis actors. Sorry, I don't want to single people out because it's not about race. It's about extremists hiring people that they're exploiting because like they're trying to paint them as like a fringe minority, et cetera, and pay people against each other and utilize that and exploit that. But um, things I wanted to bring up, and then I even brought up Helen Groos in the video too, and I didn't mention that she was Ottawa Police Services, which would have helped. Because people don't know what I'm talking about, and we didn't even get to see Bill C-11 where it was like 49-19, I believe, yay to nay, to impose and implement the Bill C-11 censorship bill, and the guy that is the one that sponsored this and to like pay for this, funded this, is the Canadian Heritage Cabinet Minister, and I don't know how that's legal. I don't know how that's legal. And I shared that on my social, like on my link. Sorry, I shared that on my Twitter and I shared that on my Instagram, so people can take a look at it and get his name and his profile, etc. And then even see where the Bill C-11, how it even showed on it on the meeting notes or whatever that it was sponsored by him. So like it's out there. Oh yeah, and that's why I'm saying I'm not. I don't want to come across as any kind of like a whistleblower or anything like that, because I'm not. I'm just sharing information that is pertinent and relevant. That's open source. It's out there. It's readily available for anyone that wants to take a look at this stuff. And so nothing I'm sharing and nothing that I've shared yet is anything that is like controlled or anything where I've signed any non-disclosures at all. For anything, right? Like this is stuff like that we were supposed to learn in school that I'm trying to like get out there. Sorry for the beeping, but like the flat Earth stuff, the simulation Earth stuff, the gravity stuff, the planet stuff, the space stuff. This is not like stuff that like that I've ever been part of any closed door meetings. You know what I mean? With these like groups of people, and like nor were there any groups any meetings I've had where like people were in cloaks and veiled and like hoods. You know, like none of that stuff either. And that happens, yes, but I'm not part of these groups, right? And again, I'm not saying any information that people in all levels of government, but anyone in society that they can't get themselves, but they're just not getting because they're getting really censored, right? And they're going down these false reality tunnels. And I've been there too, and I still do, right? But it's a way. But once we figure it out, it's like it's getting beyond that and moving forward. But again, I don't know. What the fuck do I know? I swore, so I definitely can't put this on YouTube now. We were talking about like a lot of things, but I did want to talk about like Universe 25 again and the Stanford prison experiments and like the MK Ultra stuff, because when we look like more into like human behavior and compare it with animal behavior, because it's very similar, then we can see that that there when there's certain stressors introduced into the environment, this can cause a lot more like toxic like outcomes than if you just allow these species to just like do things on their own without like these ways of like disrupting their ways of life, especially when it's like when what you're doing like it's to create antisocial behaviors. And I understand why we try to create antisocial behaviors in animals in order to assess and observe, but we've been there, we've done that Universe 25, and so we like now we need to learn from our lessons, right? We need to learn from wars, we need to learn from like a lot of destabilizing events and move on from it. And oh yeah, so even with the chief of the police at the time, when we like through the pandemic, but like just leading up to the freedom convoys and stuff like that, it was Peter Slowly, and he was character assassinated. And this is what I've mentioned in a few videos as well, is that a lot of celebrities or leaders or people that are, you know, like famous, they don't like that. Some of them don't understand or realize that they are possibly going to be the ones that are character assassinated at the end of their tenure. You know what I mean? Or at the end of their work contract or whatever it is. Like everyone, like presidents included, like leaders of, yeah, like prime ministers included, or heads of like political parties, they and it can be short lived too, right? Like and I've even seen it where it's literal shock in people that that things are released to the public, because there's always been corruption and scandals and stuff like that with like a lot of different people in various, not only levels of government, by the way, because like again, I'm not an anti-government person at all. I work with them and I've worked for them and like my whole freaking life, right? And it's because it's a governing body for Canadians, right? And for humanity. And so and I hate it when I get called brainwashed too, right? So I get it on all sides, right? Like when I say anything negative against like what people in positions of authority are doing, I get a lot of pushback by people that I know in government, which is like most people I know are in all levels of government, right? Just because of my interests and my field of employment and all these other things. But I get a lot of civilians too that they hear me like you know, condoning things, and then they're coming at me thinking that I'm anti-government, and they're just like, oh yeah, fucking government, they're fucking blah 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 blah, all brainwashed fucking. I'm like, it's like, do you not know what I do? And I've lost like people that I've loved, you know, that are in fucking government. They weren't brainwashed, right? And like even people I know now that are in like all fucking levels of government, right? Like they know what they're getting into, right? These are brave people that risk their lives, and I've risked my life, and I still do with what I'm saying. But like I like in war, like I'm battle tested. There's like so many people I know that are battle tested that are fucking double, triple amputees, right? And they're still of service. And oh my god! And when people like us get a little upset or passionate about what we're saying, because we're trying to say things to people that we know what's going on, that we know we're being lied to and misled, and that we know these forced inoculations may or may not kill us. Do you think that this is enjoyable to people? So yes, I've had people that I know in all levels of government that that didn't take the inoculation because they knew that it was going to lead to like this being like a part of like the freaking norm, right? And people like profiting at the higher levels. Not no one in Canada, very small group of people, and then us getting sick and like chronically sick and controlled, and even worse off, right? Instead of being more free, less free, because of the people that we have in leadership, unfortunately, don't I don't know, like they must be stuck or distracted on their own stuff. They could be blackmailed or bribed. I don't know, but people need to either they need to risk like they need like it takes courageous people to be in positions where they know their lives could be at risk, or their family, right? And so it is what it is, right? Like you have to do what everyone is expecting you to do, right? And this is why there's like a lot of lack of trust in people that are in certain positions, because like do you actually not know what's going on? Do you actually not know about the adverse side effects? Do you actually not know that the coronavirus is not novel or new? Do you not know that mRNA therapeutics have been out for like many years, and and do you not know the trials that have come out are not great? And it talks about like 11 to 24.6% like heart issues and death like within a 2 to 5 year period. Like all of these things, do you not know about the occult stuff? Do you not know about the hidden symbology? I don't know if they know these things, but it's I don't know. And and to be called like we have a lot of emotionally weak people in government. Oh, well, sorry, I don't want to target anyone anymore, because like I think by saying it like that, I'm being divisive, and I don't mean to be, right, because like I think that we all need to like collectively work together, and this is why I'm talking to people that are seen even as conspiracy theorists, the ones that I don't believe are right, like, to be clear, but like I go down all these rabbit holes and these conspiracy theories, and some of them are really crazy and ridiculous, obviously, but in order for me to be good at my job and be able to like understand and be informed about all these groups or theories, then I need to like explore them and explore who said them and why, and not just take things at face value. And then even if I'm looking at books, looking at the pictures and not just the descriptions, and then looking at who wrote the book and like when it was written and all of these things. There's just a lot of things that are not happening, and I don't think it's because there's that a lot of different levels that there's any sinister reasons behind it, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it's still like ignorance is not an excuse. And when people like Wayne Eyre, who's the chief of defense staff, is willfully blindly like refusing to look at information like that people like me are providing, medical, scientific, government data, right? That's credible, and it transcends Canadian data or American data too, because even on an international forum in the science and medical community and government community, we are being laughed at right now. And I've shared sources, site, and I've shared references to that too, and videos of people that are very well respected in the like even Dr. John Campbell, like he's like really like not impressed with any of our work. He's like anyway, and yeah, where was I going with this stuff? Yeah, we still need to look at like viruses and like germ theory and see where that stems from, and see like who could possibly be, benefiting from making us think that like natural like cell death and shedding of toxic or inflammatory cells, that this is like some kind of like a virus or disease, and then it to be treated. I do feel that people need to look more into that. Just look more into that. A lot of people are interested in natural law, and I discuss that a lot as well. And where I do understand and see where people are coming from with that. This like I do what I'm saying with that is like there's a lot of species now that they do, yes, they live by what we're perceiving to be natural law, but there are even bonobo monkeys or whatever you want to call them, and other animals that do seem to have systems of they have like systems in place, like, and like there's like rules and regulations to certain degrees, like even with like how they treat and manage their vulnerable, their elderly, their children and stuff like that. So there are like even though it's not verbal or written down, there are in all species systems in place that seem to be like universal to, well, like universal or I don't know, common to that species. And yeah, and so like I was trying to say that like why where we don't like where we need to be like peaceful and cooperate and live in harmony and stuff like that. Like I do want to reiterate too that we're not really living in a state or an environment where that's possible yet. And so we need to like I don't know, we need to like again just pull back and reassess everything that we're consuming, and reassess like a lot of pseudoscience, and where our mainstream media like comes from, and when it was implemented, and by who, and why it was named the way it was, and why colors are used the way they are. These are all things that would really help us understand why it's so easy for us to get distracted and think that we are right and others are wrong, and that we're the victim and others are the villain, or that my kind is like the villain, and so I have to like condemn my kind, you know what I mean? Because like anyone, because that's the right thing to do, the noble thing to do. Like that's the new like social justice warrior, right? Like the more you condemn and vilify like your what you think is your own, whether it be like the left-handed people or the right-handed people or the blonde-haired people or the brown-haired people or the giants, or I don't know, right? Like it's just different colored hair or skin, like whatever. Then the worse off we are. Analysis, natural law versus etiquette. Yeah. So until like so we do have like people in society and species in multiple different like environments that have what we would call antisocial behaviors, whether it be on the far left or far right of the behavioral spectrums, where you have the far right being overly aggressive and the far left being overly agreeable, and then you have the even far left and far right systems of government, right, where you have like the fascism dictatorship types, and then you have on the far left type, which is socialist communist. So anyone that's like that's touting communism or socialism and saying that it needs to be enforced. If you look at the graph that I've discussed before too, where at the top of the graph is authoritarian, the Y graph, or what do you want to call it, the Y line. At the top, it's complete control, right? Authoritarian control over the leading body, the governing body, and then below is total anarchy, right? So like no control, or what we perceive to be no control at all. But again, I would argue that even without, like, what we're calling anarchy is maybe possibly not necessarily anarchy. But anyways, and then the left and right are the different extreme examples of political parties in the past that have implemented these far extremes of like liberalism or socialism, or the far right of complete chaotic control, right, where it's like dictatorship, totalitarian, fascism, totalitarianism. And the far left and the far right have a lot of similarities, right? Because it's like they have extreme leaders at the that are in power, like the Justin Trudeau's, like the Joe Bidens. I'm giving examples of this, like the Chrystia Freelands. So people are showing me like a picture yesterday of a pig, and it says government on it, and then below are the taxpayers. And by the way, people that work in government also pay taxes. And so yes, we're publicly funded because because a lot of people that are firefighters or waste management or in the education system or in the military or law enforcement, these are hard jobs. These are like jobs of service, and so if you're not doing it, then why are you complaining about it when these are absolutely 100% necessary in a first world society? And there's a lot of benefits to these as well, right? So unfortunately, yes, this does cost money, and yes, people deserve to have money if they're doing a lot of things that a lot of people don't want to do, and they're getting shit on for fucking doing it too, right? So people that do plumbing and waste removal, like garbage truck drivers and the electricians and construction workers, not destruction workers, but construction workers that actually do hard work, like my brother-in-law, like that does like bridges, and like he freaking like repels. He has these huge harnesses, and he does like really big like engineering scaffolding like designs and stuff like that, and bridge work. And there's people that again that build beautiful things out of the resources that are available, and they make money off of it, and they should, because again, like they're doing good things, and people should be rewarded for doing good things, and things that take a lot of time and patience and energy and stuff like that too. So even with like the wood, like there's so much beautiful, there's like log homes like that are gorgeous. I'm actually looking at log homes. like 2 out of the 3 that I was looking at yesterday were log homes. So then again, this is all about perspective and as to what people see as upsetting or not, right? And but even with different tables and chairs that you can make with different trees and different walls, like pictures and paintings, like oh my god, the list goes on, what you can do with wood, or even like with the stone, and what you could do with like different like stone work too. Where was I going with that? So even on Andreas' show, he has amazing people on, and he has this guest Bernie, and they were just I believe it was last night they had on a guest. He's like he's getting his PhD in electrical engineering, and he follows like Bernie, and I have as well. But he was also one of the guests on the podcast I was on. That's why I wanted to say that, this live YouTube thing. And so he's going to be on again, and I would really like to talk to him about this stuff, because like even this electrical engineer, he was saying that like the stuff that Bernie shares and that we've discussed too, even on the show that I was on, about electricity and about magnetrons and about magnetism and EMPs and stuff like that. But like this is all like stuff that's higher level stuff that he's like this PhD like electrical engineer in the US is saying that like no one in his school is even close to that level or sharing that research, right? And so he's actually looking at Bernie's research, because again, these people have like they're very accredited, and they come from like like they're experts in their field, right? And so, but they're being dismissed or censored because like the information or the data or the research they're providing is, again, it's going to expose just like, again, like a small group of people that don't belong to any people that are doing good things for us, and they're not profiting or benefiting people that they should. And so yeah, they get censored. So like this electrical engineer PhD student was saying too that like even on an international level too, like this stuff is very interesting, and that's why I hope this stuff gets out there more, because it's very important. And they were talking about patents too. And the reason why he's not patenting his research and why I wouldn't be either, and why I'm talking about this stuff instead of like trying to like make money off of this stuff or keep it hidden, because like it's an advantage or an edge, because it's the people that you don't want to have this information that's going to get this information, right? So like if you get a patent, first of all, you're giving money to these people, so you're further supporting them, like exploiting us and lying to us about the world and giving us pseudoscience, which is unfortunate. But then they also take those patents and they and they're never seen again. And then like and then it's given to like obviously like the high levels of security, like the military, like and because even NASA like scientists have engaged Bernie too, and even like the PhD student or PhD electrical engineer, like he was giving names and I forget the names. I think it was Bueller was one of them too, but he's a NASA scientist too, but he was engaging him on stuff, and even this stuff was like, even like stuff is higher level than even like, again, what NASA scientists are saying, which is why I'm saying I'm not trying to make fun of astronauts or anything like that, or aerospace engineers or anything like, or others. I'm just saying that there's a lot of information that's given and that they're taught that's obviously correct, but there's just like a few theories that a few societies have put out there that are very like that they're lies, right? They're blatant, like misleading, like lies about gravity and about the theory of evolution and so many things, space and planets and the moon landings and like and so like when they're doing like training, because again, train as you fight, like they're doing things in like conditions, like an environment that they think are replicated or similar to the moon, or they're doing a lot of stuff underwater, but they're doing like the fake green room stuff too, right? So like um but even on the show, like we showed a video of Buzz Aldrin like admitting that they didn't go, and I was talking about cosmonauts too. Like there's people all over the world that are trying to get this information out, but it's getting hidden, unfortunately, still. But that's why like I would love to have discussions with anyone, you know what I mean, that would that can benefit from this information, and is willing to explore this stuff and do something about it, right? So it's going to take, I feel like if we could just like get the media to stop lying, that's a good start. And then our education systems, and then our leaders in cabinet, right? And that all that takes is just having them just like show up to work, and then just like listen to people like on like that can give them information to consider, like as part of a panel or whatever. And they do that all the time anyways, but like do it where we can like show like the evidence and data that we're providing in videos and footage of what we're trying to share to like our education systems. But even the education systems, right, like at the higher levels, it's like the people that came and recolonized or reestablished or refounded places, like their families and their groups, they yeah, they just they have ways they not only impacted or embedded themselves like in the banking systems and the media and the government, but also in the school systems and the bank systems, obviously too, in the real estate, as well as the entertainment industry and all those things. And uh, so yeah, like if we can control and manage our own like cybersecurity better, like that would be a good start as well. There's so many things that we could just like talk through. Yeah, so even free energy, like that's talked about a lot, like solar energy, or use it, or even like electricity itself. There's ways that we can conduct electricity or use electricity that we're calling free, right? That we can do ourselves. But like and I send love, and I get where people are coming from, but there's like no conspiracy like essentially to like free energy. It like even like the solar panels, like this costs money. Like there's like resources that are used and like and places mined in order to get like solar panels built, right? And even with electricity, in order to be able to like utilize it and have that conductivity, or whatever you want to call it, you need to have like certain like elements, materials. You need to have like posts with like iron like materials, I believe, and like and then you have to have like the coils and the fiber optic cables of like in varying degrees, and these ground like, so there's like and also people to do this, right? So like you're people that are saying it's free, like yeah, it's free, but like unless you're actually doing it yourself, and you're able to find the materials and free, you know what I mean, and do this yourself free, and like build your like and all that stuff, then it's going to cost money. or like a means of exchange, right? It could be money, or it could be like bartering, right? Like getting materials for like something that you could provide, like I don't know, like growing trees and selling, or like selling services that you provide, um, like fitness training or wellness. I don't know, but yeah, like this stuff still does cost money, and we can't just expect that people are going to just like work for free, when it's people that are not working for free that are expecting this, right? Or people that are getting money and benefits because they're in areas where there's not a lot of like jobs or job opportunities, and I have ideas on that as well. But it's but yeah, we really need to consider that, like we do need to have like be able to like provide like a way of life for people that are providing us services that are essential, and not just like dismiss that, or be like so negative towards them as well, right? Let me see here. Yeah, so I was saying that like there's people in society, like all levels of society, I'll say, in like all different fields, that do know like a lot of different stuff about the old world, like cover up. So the old world, I don't even know if it's a cover up, or if it, well, I mean, there's been cover up attempts, obviously, right? Like when you're trying to like full out flood areas, or just demolish areas, or destroy areas, or like actually actively put in like explosive devices. I feel like this is like willful intent, or poisoning our water systems and streams, like even like again in the last few months. It's all like known to like a again, like people, and we're trying to call this stuff out, and it's nerve-wracking to a lot of people too. Like it takes courage, and again, even people that know that they could possibly die from taking a booster shot, right? They and still weighing the odds, right? Because like, well, I risked my life overseas, or I risked my life, as a firefighter, or I risked my life, blah blah blah, as a law enforcement officer. And there's more like murders as well that are happening with law enforcement too, and it's because of this these lies and this messaging. It's so negative, and this defund the police stuff. Like the people that are saying it, like then don't ever expect to ever be helped when you need it, like by with these services, right? Like I don't know, people always have like a different take on support assets once they've been in a position where they need help, right? And it's just like it shouldn't get to that point. And there's a lot of people trying to do good every day and getting shit on still, like me, like talking about like the mandates and the pandemic and the therapeutics, and like even with the Russia Ukraine war stuff. I would really love to talk to Andreas about that more, and delve into like the misinformation and people that got fired even in the Ukraine for like actively and knowingly lying about events that would clearly elicit emotional responses in people. Oh my goodness, because again, like people of service, when they hear of like rapes of women, you know what I mean, or children being murdered, they're just like, what? You know what I mean? And they're just like, they're so in the black. They're like, let me at this, you know what I mean? And it's just like, and especially when it's women saying it, like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Then it's even more. They're like, oh my God, I need to defend. Like get me out there. And so like again, this is like exploiting resources needlessly and lying about it. And so for me, it's like that's a clear manipulation, right? And so Chrystia Freeland, Justin Trudeau, Jim Watson, Marco Menincini, who's like the public safety officer, who never once like looked at any of the emails I sent. And for the record, every single one of these people, I've been sending emails now for the last couple of years, and I have proof of it. I can send you the sent messages I have before my social media. I scroll through, and all the references that I attach and cite, and not once have I gotten a message back. uh, like even Glenn Gower, like the mayor for like all the trees being shredded and but like even just like recording it, or even just like dating it before they do it, because like no one was coming in and even dating the stone or doing assessments or doing any like preservation stuff, right? And so there's just like a lot more to it, right, that we need to be looking at, especially on a heritage site. Like this needs to be managed very carefully, and information preserved very carefully, and so that we can possibly try to be the anomalies in this reset or matrix or whatever. And why I'm also talking about this stuff is that if there is possibly again like mud floods or natural disasters or man-made disasters or EMP events or even war where like they like somehow Canada does become involved, clearly they would like people that would and I've said this in previous videos before too, and I'm so frustrated that they keep on getting deleted from YouTube. That's why I'm just sticking a rumble now. But they're gonna target like places that of importance, or what is perceived to be of importance, right? So if you're in the capital region, like you've got to know or understand that even by virtue of being here, that you're putting yourself more at risk if there's any kind of like an international event, that your area is going to be targeted. So like, so if that's a possible risk, then a way to mitigate that is not to just like play victim. You know what I mean? Obviously I'd be upset. It's like natural to be upset about these things. It's very upsetting, but like you still have to move, right? If you don't want to be part of the stats or things like that. And yeah, and so it's unfortunate, but like that would be the solution, right? And so for me, like I'm moving because of this stuff, right? But like unfortunately I was delayed because of stuff that they were doing. Unfortunately, uh, caused my home to be damaged. That took like a lot of months to be repaired, and that was also like not allowing my house to have like that noise block barrier, right? So people are like, "Oh, you're a Karen." I'm like, "Oh yeah." You try living with this, like and managing and trying to like actively like get repairs done and trying to follow up with people and insurance companies and like all that stuff, and alone while trying to do your fourth year cognitive science degree, while volunteering at the Ottawa Mission, while doing high level security work in a very volatile, like insane, intense period of time. Oh, and it's anyway, but watch your mouth. I'm just kidding, not kidding. But yeah, but so like yeah, there's people that willingly risk their lives daily. So like even taking these therapeutics, there are people that like again that did get fired or charged or harassed, intimidated, bullied, etc., etc., etc. And this like was a career ruiner by saying by refusing the inoculation. But there are also people that knew that they were better, that believed that they were better off staying in and risking taking those inoculations, because again like it's a survival thing too, right? Like if you leave, like now you're looking for other jobs, and you don't have that job stability, and which like money, and especially in a city, like there's people that have mortgages, people that have car payments, gas to get to work, food, bills. Like there's so much to factor in, right? So like it's not as easy as just like quitting your career and then you don't have that pension that you worked like for some people I know like 10 plus years in, right? Or 15 plus years in, or even 20 plus years in, because again I joined in 2001. But yeah, and they know the risks, but again they risk their lives on a regular basis anyways. Like I know people that have like over 12, 15 plus deployments all over the world, and I've been all over the world in various capacities too, like even for travel, like and so we know the risks. I know the risks of what I'm doing. I know the risks of like these videos too, right? And and my friends know the risks of the inoculations, and they knew the risks of like they know the risks of going to the Russian Ukraine, and some of these people fucking know that it is being manipulated at the higher levels, right? And this is why they're paying more attention to things, and this is why when they're being told that there's shots being fired or whatever, like they know that these are just fireworks, because these people have like celebrations during certain periods, and sometimes it's in the evening, where certain traditions and cultures celebrate their traditions, and that these are not like volatile, like destabilizing events that need us to be involved in any way, right? And so it's just like having people in positions of power that are that are willingly and knowingly still serving, and I think that's even more commendable, like and more heroic, because like I don't think that they're brainwashed sheep at all. Like I know they're not. The people in my networking community I'm talking about, the people that I conversate with and stuff like that, like I think that they're very freaking brave, and I think that yeah, and even like the like stuff that's been going on with the Afghanistan pullout, with the people that were going there. Like I know people personally that went there, and still are going there. It's ongoing, that were going into like very like chaotic, very dangerous places in Afghanistan, and trying to help and save people that have done like a lot of good work for us, that were scared for their lives, rightfully so, and hiding out in motels and gas stations and schools, so many different areas, because there were people that were after the pull-up, people that were trying to, or we were being told were trying to, and they were, by the way, killing or beating people up, and actively looking for people that were involved in any way in assisting NATO. And so it is what it is. And because I wasn't vaccinated, like I was still giving combat estimates and assessments on the ground, and things like that, because again, I've deployed, and I was also the battle group embarkation officer. So all over Afghanistan, like I managed personnel and resources, and so from much so familiar with the areas, right? Much more so than a lot of people, and then also familiar with how to like with deployments and redeployments, and the hostile environment awareness piece, and all that stuff. And so even though I don't get paid, obviously, for this stuff, I willfully and openly give information to people on a daily basis, right? Like all over the world, like people from all levels of, mostly government, I'm saying, because like these are the governing bodies of like different countries that are of service, that are trying to help people, right? And so they, when they're coming to me for like discussions or whatever, or oftentimes too, to give me important information, obviously, too. So I don't want to just say that like me. It's not a one-way street here at all. Like that, there's a lot of people that risk their lives on a regular basis. Multiple people. I'm on multiple different chat groups from like all over the world that that are giving like really critical information that allows me to piece everything together, right? And so like I'm on Signal and Telegram too, and there's like, it's stuff, some of this stuff is like overwhelmingly graphic or overwhelmingly upsetting to hear and see, but it's important and necessary in order to be able to like provide like an accurate assessment to people that are making decisions for Canadians or people abroad, that where there's lives at risk. And so these are important pieces. And so, but yeah, when people that are imposing mandates try to protest peacefully, and then they're character assassinated and called emotionally weak fringe minority, even though they're just trying to share that like they had family members who died from the therapeutic, and it was very traumatic, or like lost jobs, and like and they're struggling to live, and it's traumatic, or they're now homeless and it's traumatic, or so many different reasons, right, to be there, and then just being further vilified, and then not only further vilified, like all over, you know what I mean, like the mainstream Canadian mainstream media, but then having people from the downtown core or from other like crisis groups come in and then actually attack even more, right? So like break like injuring people, attacking people, which and there's police reports out there that prove this, because again, I work with law enforcement as well as security details and stuff like that as well, and they were sharing this stuff, and open source, by the way. So there was even cabinet hearings too, where Marco Menichini looked like an idiot because he was trying to say that there was like arson attempts, that this was like the convoy people, and then he was disrupted finally, and then the guy was finally, I forget what his name was, but he's like, no, you got to stop. He's like, how is this even legal? We have to strike this off the record, but it's already out there, right, in the ether, that he was lying about this, and how it was actually like this arson was like for like local, like in nature, and it was from like locals of Ottawa that were starting fires, and trying to blame it on protesters, or freedom convoy people, whatever you want to call them. So like a lot of people that were a lot of the reports to 911, a lot of these police reports were for people that were going against the people that were trying to speak out and address a lot of things that are very important still to this day, right? And then even Brian Peckford, who is a former premier, and a very incredibly smart man, and who also, I believe, helped like establish like the reconstituted constitution, and I believe that was in '82. But he and Maxime Bernier, he's the head of the PPC, People's Party of Canada. He's character assassinated as well. He's being painted as an extremist because he's speaking out on mandates and on climate change, how we're being told it is, because we should be looking at the top 100 companies that produce 70% of the population. But anyway, but he was finance minister. He's very well educated, and he's out there not only just like online doing the social media presence thing, but he's also doing the social networking piece, like on the physical level. So like networking, like going to different rallies or meetings or groups, and speaking to people like one on one in person, And so that's stuff that I do as well, right? So like I have a social media platform now that I'm trying to um, you know, get more interaction on. But I'm also like going like I also go out there, like I travel, like I went to the Yukon and back, like a road trip, right? So it's work play, right? So like I'm getting away from the construction and the destruction, right, like from my home, but I'm also able to like make assessments and check out key areas within Canada that reinforce certain theories that I'm trying to discuss, right? And share. And so a lot of videos and photos that I show on my social media, even on my trips, I'm showing like what I believe to be like old runes from like older old world, Tartarian, civilizations, or whatever you want to call these civilizations, and old trees that were possibly cut down. And yeah, like I share a lot of subtle, like hidden stuff with what I share, even with like the with fossilized, things on rock slabs, or like the sun and the moon stuff. Like that's my the music I play, what's being said in the music. And if anyone's interested in that stuff, so like if you can tell or get or understand the hidden messaging between like some of the even the music I share, like I think I already said twice, nursery rhymes, yeah, there's rabbit holes you can go down, so it can be a little bit fun, a little bit more fun. Anyways, I think on that note, I'm gonna leave it at that, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful day.